someone says something small, just a comment, maybe even a joke, and something inside you drops straight through the floor. Your face stays calm. You laugh, or you nod, or you say, "No, it's fine." But inside, the whole room has gone loud. Your chest is tight. Your thoughts are already replaying the moment on a loop, faster and faster, hunting for what you did wrong. And hours later, maybe days later, you're still quietly carrying it. You've probably been told you're too sensitive, that you take things too personally, that you need to grow a thicker skin, let it go, stop overthinking. You've probably even said it to yourself. Somewhere along the way, you decided there was something wrong with how much you feel. There isn't. What you're feeling is real. The intensity is real. But it isn't a character flaw, and it isn't weakness. It's wiring. Your brain isn't broken. It just feels louder than most. Let's talk about why. Here's the thing nobody explains to you. Emotion in the brain doesn't wait for permission. There's a small, ancient structure deep in your head whose only job is speed. Call it the alarm. The second it senses a threat, it floods you, before the thinking part of your brain has even finished reading the situation. In most people, a second part of the brain catches up quickly, the part right behind your forehead. Think of it as the brain's manager. It's the part that says, "Okay, that comment wasn't actually an attack. You can stand down now." It puts a hand on the alarm and turns the volume back down.
In the ADHD brain, that manager runs a little slow. It still works, it just shows up late. So the alarm goes off at full volume, and the dial that's supposed to turn it down arrives a few beats behind. That gap is the entire experience, that tiny delay between the feeling and the break. It's why a small comment doesn't feel small. It's why you can know logically that everything is fine and still feel like the floor gave way beneath you. You're not feeling the wrong thing. You're feeling the right thing too loudly, with the volume knob just out of reach. There's even a name for the sharpest version of this. Doctors who study ADHD call it rejection-sensitive dysphoria. Dysphoria just means a deep, almost unbearable kind of emotional pain. Rejection-sensitive means it gets set off by the smallest hint that someone is disappointed in you, annoyed with you, or pulling away. A psychiatrist named William Dodson, who has spent decades working with ADHD patients, describes it as a wound that's almost physical, a real, sudden, knock-the-wind-out-of-you pain that arrives in seconds and has nothing to do with how strong you are. And here's what makes it so confusing. It doesn't even need to be real rejection. A text that just says, "Okay," a meeting where your idea got passed over a little too quickly, a friend who seemed quieter than usual today. Your brain doesn't wait to find out what actually happened. The alarm goes off on the possibility.
You know this one. You send a message you are a little nervous about, and then you watch. You check if they've read it. You reread what you wrote, hunting for the part that sounds needy or stupid or too much. You draft 3 versions of a follow-up you never send. And the longer they take to reply, the louder the alarm gets, until you've quietly decided they're upset with you over a message they haven't even opened yet. That's not insecurity. That's an alarm system doing exactly what it was built to do, in a brain where the off switch is slow. Here's a stranger one. It's not just the bad stuff that lands hard. Sometimes the good stuff lands too hard too. Someone gives you a genuine compliment, and instead of warmth, you feel almost embarrassed, exposed, like you have to deflect it fast and change the subject. Or you get glowing feedback with one tiny note at the end, and you walk away remembering only the note. 10 kind words, 1 small correction, and the correction is the only thing that survives the night. That's the volume again. Everything comes in loud. The praise, the criticism, the joy, the dread. You don't get to choose which feelings get turned up. They all do. And now, here's the part that almost no one tells you. The calmer you look on the outside, the harder you're usually working on the inside. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that this much feeling makes other people uncomfortable. So you started hiding it. You smile through the drop. You say, "I'm fine," while the alarm is still screaming. You hold the entire storm behind a steady, easygoing face. People call that being mature, being chill, having thick skin. But it isn't thick skin. It's a person feeling everything at full volume and spending enormous energy making sure no one can tell. That effort is exhausting. It's a big part of why you can come home from a completely ordinary day and feel like you ran a marathon you can't even point to. And the advice, just don't take it so personally, it doesn't work because it's aimed at the wrong part of the brain. You can't reason with an alarm while it's still going off. By the time the thinking part of your brain shows up with, "This is fine," the feeling has already happened. You weren't slow to calm down. You were just early to feel. So here's a different way to hold all of this. The same wiring that makes a small slight feel enormous is the same wiring that makes you notice the second someone you love goes quiet. It's why you catch the shift in a friend's voice before they've said a word. It's why your joy, when it comes, is huge, and your loyalty runs deep, and a beautiful song can completely undo you in the best way. You feel rejection loudly because you feel everything loudly. You don't get one without the other. The volume isn't a defect bolted onto an otherwise normal brain. It's the whole instrument. This doesn't mean the pain isn't real, or that you have to love every part of it. It just means you can stop adding a second layer of pain on top, the shame of feeling too much. The quiet apology you keep whispering to yourself for being the way you are. You can feel the alarm go off, and instead of "What is wrong with me?" try something gentler. "Oh, there's the volume again. My break is just running a little late. It will catch up." Because it does catch up. The drop passes. The floor comes back, and the feeling that knocked the wind out of you an hour ago loosens its grip, the way it always eventually does, usually right around the time you remember that the thing you were so certain about was never actually confirmed by anyone except your own alarm. So the next time someone says something small and the floor drops out from under you, pause, just for a second, before you decide it means something is wrong with you. It doesn't. You're not too sensitive. Your brain just feels in high definition. And a brain that feels this loudly was never broken. It was only ever turned all the way up.